Hello, and welcome to After Hours. I am so glad you could all join us because the guest on the show today is literally going to knock your socks off. Seriously, he is an incredibly talented illusionist, performer, teacher, author, all-round entertainer. He's wowed people across North America and India. So without any further ado, welcome to the magical world of Christopher James Schuh.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm glad you could come down and talk to us today and show us a little bit of what it is you do with magic. Your name just kind of got longer there.
Yes,
it went
it
from
did.
Christopher James to Christopher James Schuh, which kind of threw me a little bit. So how you've changed your name now? Why is that?
Well, originally my full name is Christopher James Schuh. So originally I was just going by Christopher James, especially for some international performances. It was just easier for people. Schuh is a German name, and it literally translates to shoe, like you wear on your feet. In fact, if you go to Germany, there are shoe stores with my last name on it. The reason I decided to go through the change is there's also another magician based out of Las Vegas with Christopher James.
Oh,
So
I
both
see.
of us were just getting mixed up messages. So people would write us from, his fans would write me, my fans would write him, and the confusion was just getting too much. So I decided to go through a rebranding, and this is the first year and the first show where I'm doing that. So
Well,
you're debuting the first name across the world.
That's wonderful. So tell us about magic. How did you start? Like, you know, what you've been doing this for how long now?
This will be 14 years now at the end of January that I've been doing magic. Always as a kid, I was fascinated by it. I loved it. I would watch the David Copperfield and the Lance Burton specials all the time, and I'd be glued to the TV, and I always wanted to know how to do it because I wanted to perform it. I just didn't want to know because I wanted to know the secrets.
You've done television appearances galore, quite a bit.
Yeah, I've done a few over the years, for sure.
Like,
Well, the first one was in 2003, and that was for MTV Canada. So I was downtown filming a magic instructional DVD with my magician friend Travis McPherson. He's out of Seattle. And we were doing some filming for this group that were standing in line. And one of the production assistants happened to catch wind of what we were doing, said, "Oh, you got to show this stuff to my director." And I went up to the director and showed him the same material. And then he said, "If you can do that in 30 seconds, we're cutting this stuff, and then you're doing it." And then that's how it worked on. That's how it worked out so that I got to do it. Would you like to see that trick?
yeah, I'd love to.
Sure.
I was
So
just going to ask you.
This is the first trick that I ever actually did on television.
Awesome.
So you can see all different. Just hold your hand out flat.
Now, wait a minute. I want to make sure that this isn't like a fake deck that's like got
Oh, it's
springs
fine.
in it.
No,
and-
it doesn't.
It's all like normal?
Yeah, it is
Okay.
totally. You saw me unwrap it backstage.
Well, yeah, I know, but still,
That's fair.
you could have been unwrapping like a trick deck.
So we'll just take the top one, 3. Hold your hand still, and as I put the 3 in your hand, cover it with your other hand, okay?
All right.
And just hold still. We'll take the next one, 6. 6 of spades, 3 of hearts. Now hold still. You'll feel this on your hands, but the cards themselves never touch, right?
No, they never touched. The heck?
Take a look.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Now, it'd only be a miracle if we could do it twice, and a lot of people ask me to do that one again. So hold
Yeah.
your hands out because they're just so shocked. We'll break the rules and we'll do it again. We'll take the next one, 2 of clubs, and you'll actually hold still again.
Uh-huh.
Some people think it's the rub, so I won't come near you.
Okay.
And are we getting this? Watch the king.
That's absolutely amazing.
And that was the first one that I did it back in 2003. MTV Canada was the show.
That's terrific. And how do you come up with this material? Like, well, now, is there like this, you know, bunch of tricks that it's like a long tradition with magicians and you always start out with this and you progress a certain way and you have like a giant magician's book that you start with, or like how does it start?
That's a good way to start, and many magicians do. That was the way I started, was with instructional books and instructional videos, and that trick is actually from such a book and a video. And you'll learn some of the basic moves, so they're called sleights, for sleight of hand. That's where that phrase comes from.
Oh, yeah.
And then as you practice and develop all of these things, you put them together, and some people will sit in their house or sit in their living room and make tricks up all the time. So they'll start out with, what kind of effect do I want, or what do I want the audience to see? And then they have to work out the card moves or the handling to accomplish that.
Right.
For myself, I start to now look at telling a story or doing something that somebody dreams of doing. So if you've walked around and you're like, oh, I wish I could read somebody's mind, that's the kind of stuff that I'm doing. Or somebody would say, for example, I wish I could have more money. So I've come up with a couple tricks that cover that.
Yes,
I can show you one. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So this is how you integrate stories into your magic.
Yes, definitely. So with this one, you can see we've got 4 toonies.
Okay.
You can check them out if you want.
Okay. Okay. Yep, that's all real.
Good. Hold your hand out flat. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now some people think my watch is part of this, so we'll take that off from the very beginning. And I'll pull my sleeves up as best I can.
Sure you're not
Yep.
hiding anything there.
For sure.
Give you the full frisk? No.
Maybe later.
No.
All right.
Okay.
So I used to have this perception about money, that it was hard to earn and hard to keep. So every time I looked at my bank account, I felt like I didn't have enough. Can you catch all 4 of those? Now, if you watch closely, I used to look at my bank account and feel like I didn't have enough. I did that over and over and over until eventually I had less.
Ah.
Now,
okay.
I changed my thoughts about money, my perceptions about it, and now it appears around me easily and frequently. Hold your hand out. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. You saw the first one. Now, sometimes people will be out shopping with their friends, and I've been guilty of doing this as well, and they'll say, I don't have enough, or I can't afford it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Every time you speak like that, you make it true. Just like every time you speak of wealth, you have it.
Oh.
Now, some people, even when I do this in a T-shirt, they're saying it's going in my wrist, up my arm, across my chest, down into my other hand.
Yeah, I'm like
which is
one
a
of
little
those kind of
ridiculous,
people.
but some people say that. If that were true, though, I should be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll actually feel it.
Oh my gosh.
But here's the best part. The best part about magic is that you can actually do it yourself as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close your hand.
Okay.
Now, this comes back to the story of people wishing they could make more money. So I
Right.
want you to imagine you're rich.
I'm rich.
What's the first thing you would buy?
I don't know. A giant yacht. I don't know.
A giant yacht. That's a good one.
No, I know.
What?
I would buy an entire Greek island.
A Greek island. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got empty hands.
Okay.
Nothing up the sleeves. Open yours now. Oh, that's okay. You've got 1,
Okay.
2, 3, 4,
What?
5. And that which you create, you get to keep. That is now your lucky coin towards your new Greek island.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like I'm sitting here and there's nothing going up or down sleeves and I cannot figure out how you did that.
Oh, well, that's a compliment. Thank you so much.
That was really incredibly awesome.
And now after people see this type of magic, they always want to say, you know, a lot of people say, oh, okay, well, what's $2 going to buy me, or something along those lines. And then in that case, if anybody answers or asks me that, I say, do you have a $5 bill?
Oh, okay.
Do you have $5 on you?
Oh,
Perfect.
I do. I think that was magic. That I didn't put that in there. It's just magic. What? Ah, I'm speechless. Like I have no idea how on earth how did you do that? That is absolutely amazing.
And that usually keeps them quiet about the money tricks afterwards.
Yeah.
You got to pay them off, though.
Oh, like in that movie I saw, Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Now you see it? Yeah.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah.
And then the whole audience gets money rained down on them.
Yes, definitely. I'd like to be able to do that show.
Well, how did you first, how did it enter your mind, oh, you know, I want to do magic or I want to do illusion? I guess it's kind of like being a hypnotist as well. It's sort of along the same, or mentalist. It's
Yeah, mentalist and hypnotist would be very different, I would say, but a magician and a mentalist are more closer than I would say. I was 19 at the time, and I'd been wanting to do magic for almost 10 years now, ever since I was about 9.
Yeah, like, I mean, when you were 9, you saw it on TV.
I saw it on TV, but I had no idea how to start or anything like that.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was a magic shop in Metrotown Mall. So I
yeah, I
lived
think I remember.
2 or 3 blocks from there at the time. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I was just fed up. I was bored, and I was fed up with wanting to know if I would like to do this or not. So I made up my mind that morning to go to the magic shop, and I was going to spend $100 and then start to learn it, and then I would know for sure one way or another if I liked it or not. I told the guy behind the counter what I wanted to do. He suggested 6 tricks to start out with, so I put down my $100, learned those 6 tricks, and then was there next week. The next Saturday, I was there again to buy more and to get some help with what I was doing. So I was in love with it that Saturday afternoon, that very first day.
And
it was just something that I pursued even more from there.
like a lifelong obsession.
Yes, it's much of a very big obsession it becomes.
And who have you worked with or under or studied with? There's Chris Angel.
I've never studied with him, but there's a magic school down in Las Vegas called Master's Class, and it's run by Jeff McBride and Eugene Berger.
Right.
These are 2 of the most influential magicians of all time. They've been published countless times. They've consulted on countless production specials and shows. Chris Angel's show, for instance, David Blaine's television shows they've consulted on, things like that. So I've graduated 2 of their programs, one in 2005 and one in 2007, and that really helped me focus with my magic and helped me identify what I wanted to do with it. In fact, I had never wanted to perform stage magic until they told me I should.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's quite an honor, because these are some
Yes, well, it's to hear, if you hear your hero tell you that you should do something, it's kind of hard to say no.
Right. So you do work, you do some work on television, you do work with, I think you're involved in weddings and
Yes.
Also teaching yourself, you teach. And there was something about you being an author, but I didn't quite
Oh,
get
okay.
that.
I published 2 books relating to magic. The first one I wrote back in 2003, 2004.
Right.
And at the end of writing that, I promised the readers that I would rewrite it again. So I would read the book and then rewrite it from a new perspective. You know, after 10 years, this is what I think. This is how I view, my views have changed. So I'm in the process now of just starting to reread that book and rewrite it as well.
And what is that? I'm sorry.
It was called Magic as I See It, and I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to call the new title of the other one.
Magic as I See It. So it's all about your experiences.
Yes, and theory on magic and how to build a routine and things like that. So it's written for magicians or performers who want to improve their magical performance. It doesn't teach any tricks or anything like that.
Right.
The second book did teach tricks, and that was published through an online magic company out of the U.S.
Oh, I see. And you've been involved with also teaching magic through, I think there was a course. It's the first and one and only accredited magic course that can be taught in a school setting.
That's right. There's a private school out of Maple Ridge, and they had...
It's like a secondary school?
Yes, it's a secondary school.
An actual secondary school.
That's right. Metal Ridge is the school's name. And they had a bunch of students from grades 10 to 12 who all loved magic. So we ended up devising a 2-credit arts course and working with one of the teachers there who was the music teacher, and he still is a magician and a good friend of mine, David Noble. He wanted to publish this course, and he applied for all the accreditation and things like that, and we ended up becoming the first accredited arts magic course in the history of Canada.
Fine arts.
Fine arts, yeah. And we taught that for 2 or 3 years, and actually we did a Shaw TV little spit on that. That was my last TV experience, was with Shaw came in and did a little bit of a story on the kids, and they did some shows for them and caught us teaching and stuff. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And do you know if any of the kids went on to pursue magic, or?
A couple of them are still doing it, but they're not pursuing it, I would say, to the level that I am. You know, they focused on university and post-secondary and living and stuff like that. I mean, when I was their age, there was no way that I could have had the focus and discipline that they did.
Right.
I was too into soccer and all this stuff and just growing up.
And you also are involved not just with teaching, but with charities. So what's the charity work like? And is that just your way of
Well,
giving.
yeah, it's my
Just
way of
bringing
giving back.
actual, I don't want to say real magic, but, you know, a special magic into people's lives.
Yeah, I've always been big on giving back to the community and doing charitable work and things like that. And when I learned through a few charities that that's how I actually started doing professional shows, was I would donate shows to charities and then meet people there, and then they would hopefully hire me for their other event later on. And then I just found it very, very rewarding that I could give back, I could do something that I love, and it would bring a smile to people's face, and it also helped increase the amount that the charities were bringing in. The last show that I did, that was a major charity show, it was for Humanity First, and we raised over $30,000 for typhoon relief in the Philippines.
Oh, yeah, 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 that's right.
And Humanity First is an amazing charity. They will go around, and with $250, they were building solid structure houses that you could live in for 2 to 3 years in the Philippines.
Wow.
So every single dollar that they were making was going towards the actual cause. There was very little that was going to admin, very little that were going to these charity events, functions, because sometimes you go to these charity events and they're very lavish.
And you don't know how much is actually going
exactly,
to
and I don't want to spend $50,000 on a charity show and only have $50 go to the people that need it.
And so you raised 30?
Yeah, it was over $30,000 that whole
Okay.
event raised, and I was the entertainer there for that
that's
show. Yeah, and
wonderful.
I've done shows with them before, and they're great. They're a bunch of great people.
And through all of your magic, your career, your teaching, being an author, you spent time in India. And India strikes me as a very mystical kind of place.
It is.
So magic kind of ties into that. How? Tell us all about India.
Okay, so I had a magic student who I really at that time considered to be a colleague, but he still called him a student, based out of India. And in India, they've got 2 huge universities or colleges or school post-secondary facilities. They're National Institute of Technology and then the Indian Institute of Technology. And there's a huge number of chain of these schools all over the country. He was on the board of directors for a large international event that they have. It's a big technical event that happens once a year. So he sent me an email one day saying, you know, we can all put our ideas forward for entertainers, and we're allowed to have international entertainers come in if we want. If you can make these dates, can you make it here? Then I'll put your name in the hat, the whole board will vote, and then if they vote you in, we'll try and bring you out to do the show. And I said, of course, you know, I would love to do that. This was 2009. And then the board voted, I got in, and I went and did the show there, and it was over 1,500 people were there in attendance, so that marked my largest show ever at that time.
Really?
And then he actually was kind enough to do some little bit of press junket for me, so they had somebody from the New India Times, which is the India's 4th largest paper. She took a train for 8 hours just to come one way, just to come and meet me, so I ended up doing a whole show for her. She published a great article for me, and by the time I was home, I had already had other offers to go back to India based on that news article. So it was very, very lucky for me, but I'm very grateful for all the help that other people have brought my way.
Right, that's really incredible. You do all kinds of tricks. Like I saw you do a trick. He actually performed at a work function, and you did this trick and you had fire and. So
yes, we'll do that later today.
You do like the, you know, saw the lady in house. Is that like the old sort of like nobody really does that anymore? That's just so mundane, or
lots of people still do it. I try and come up with some things that people haven't seen. So my focus now is developing brand new material that has never been seen, and it's also stuff that I'm doing myself. So that way, I'm the only one who's doing it. So I can say, if you want to see this piece of magic, the only way to do so is to have me do the show.
And like Chris Angel, he would go out in the street and levitate and stuff. You haven't really been a street performer, but you've done stuff out in the open, and that must have been, did you get sort of quite a lift from that? Levitation, did you get a lift?
Street performing is its own thing, just like kids shows are their own thing, and I respect those magicians a lot, because those are some of the hardest types of magic to do. To actually stop somebody in the street and have them give you their time and attention is a challenge enough.
Right.
And to be able to perform something that will engage them really well, really quickly as well, is a big, big win for them. So while I haven't done a whole lot of it myself, I definitely respect those who do.
Right. And you don't just do magic though, you have other talents and other work that you do as
Yes.
well, right? So, and I guess that's the case with most magicians.
Yes, we are regular people.
Right.
Some of them might try and bill themselves as
Mystical.
or all-knowing or all-powerful or things like that. But at the end of the day, Chris Angel's a regular guy, just like I'm a regular guy. I mean, I've met him. He's a super nice person,
Yeah.
very down to earth. He understands the show business side of things versus the personal side of things. So we're just regular people. I have yet to encounter anybody that I believe has mystical or magical
I was going
powers.
to ask you about that. Is there really like any magic per se that is like, sort of an esoteric, a spiritualist type of? I know that it's presented that way sometimes.
Yes.
But is that ever actually part of it, or no?
In my experience, I would have to say no, and I have yet to encounter anything that has proven that to be wrong yet. But that is part of my magical journey. I've always been interested in investigating such things. I've investigated a few esoteric schools and things like that as well, just to see what it's all about, if there is this kind of higher level or new age energy or that kind of stuff.
Right.
So far, the investigations have come up with nothing, but it's a fun pursuit anyway.
Right.
And maybe it'll come up with something. I just hope it's not when I'm 85 years old and too old to be able to do it.
Right. So, what are you looking forward to, like, in the future?
Just doing more shows. I really do enjoy doing the wedding shows. So every summer I'm usually busy doing a lot of weddings on the weekends. Those are a lot of fun because everybody's always in a great mood as it is. So I'm not having to pull somebody out of a sad time of their life or anything like that, which is always nice and easier for me. And I just look forward to doing more stage shows. I'd like to plan a large stage show to do in Vancouver this year. So that's in the works. Anything else on television would be lovely, and I also look forward to going back to India.
Can you show us another trick?
Yes, definitely. So back to
This is
how
so
I
exciting.
put stories into it.
And if you were all sitting here, you would know exactly what I'm talking about, because this is just amazing. It looks like, oh, okay, well, it's TV or whatever, but no, when you're sitting right here, you can see it's all real.
So this is a special deck of cards. The only thing that makes the deck special is there's marks on the sides.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Other than that, the deck is completely normal and it's mixed.
Yeah, okay.
So
I
just
believe you.
this one time.
Yeah,
Just
this
say stop wherever you'd like.
Stop.
That one? Okay, so I don't see what it is. I'll just show you. I'll show the camera as well. Now, there's a
Okay.
group of people in the world who believe that perfection is the secret to enlightenment. So they try and be perfect in everything they do. And this is a perfect shuffle.
Yeah, looks like it's gonna be. Yep, absolutely.
So to do this, I'm having to cut perfectly,
Perfectly,
26 cards into each hand.
Right.
And then I get each card to weave from each side, one at a time. And that's how you accomplish a perfect shuffle. So
Right.
these people will do this, try and be perfect in everything they do, no matter how big, how small, or how often they do the task.
Right.
They're always trying to approach perfection. And you can see that the more times I'm perfect, the clearer the picture becomes. Look, we'll do one more.
It says
We'll do-
enlightenment.
We'll do one more.
Okay, you have to show that to the camera. This is amazing. I mean, like, hold that up.
Now, with all that perfect shuffling, the deck returns to new deck order.
It does.
Look, we'll go through.
Yeah, all the hearts in order. Clubs.
And remember, new deck order is ace to king and then
Diamonds.
king to ace for the other half.
That's amazing.
But that's just perfect shuffling. Perfect magic comes full circle, and this is perfect magic.
look at that. That's amazing.
And that's one of the ones where I've worked into a story with it, and I have to give credit to Christopher James Schuh, another magician based out of Vegas, who was the one who had the Enlightenment part written on there.
Do we have time, just because we're running a little bit low now?
Sure.
Can we do the fire one?
Here we can do, well, we got two more. We'll do two more quick ones. This one's a quick one. We borrowed a ring from somebody kindly backstage. You can check it out, of course.
Yeah,
it's lovely.
actually, it's my producer's ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so as a kid, I always knew that I could focus very intently, but I never knew what that could actually accomplish until I practiced.
There's no strings. There's no strings. I don't see magnets. Like I'm thinking, no, there's no magnets. There's no strings. This is completely amazing. Let's see if I can do it. No.
We'll practice one later on, though. I'll teach you one later on at the end.
Okay.
And we can do that fire one if you'd like, yeah. So here you can see it's just a clear dish.
Yep.
Get all this out of the way here. Incense stick, piece of paper.
Okay.
Now there's a story that I like to tell with this one, and some people believe it's true. I'm undecided, but the story is about when Columbus's ships discovered America. So the story goes is that the Caribbean Indians, or the natives on the Caribbean islands, were standing out on the beach and they were unable to see the clipper ships that Columbus was sailing. Some people believe that the reason they couldn't see the clipper ships was because there was nothing in their history or nothing in their brains.
Yes, I heard that
to
story.
process what the clipper ships
What it
were.
was, to identify,
Their
right.
brains couldn't actually understand what their eyes were seeing.
Yes.
So the medicine man, or the shaman of the tribe, stands out.
We're down to just a minute, so we have to go quick.
Stands on the beach for days and days and days, wondering what the cause of this ripple effect is.
Yeah.
Because the people trusted in him and believed in him so much, they could actually see the ships as well when he was able to see them. We'll go real quick. Oops.
I just gotta tell you now, this has been so fun.
Oh,
Honestly,
thank you so much for having
it's
me.
just been awesome.
I've only set a few fire
I'm scared
alarms
of
off.
fire, so I'm just gonna stand here.
That will be all right.
Oh, I hope the alarms don't go off. Hopefully not. Okay. Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Just watch close. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh, everybody has to see this. Look, it is, it's so warm, it's hot. It's a rose from Kleenex. Like, it's a rose. That's amazing.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, and it's been wonderful having you.